Welcome to Holistic Live, Awakening Your Inner Healer. Today, I have a very special guest, my dear friend, Lada from AstroladaOfficial. She is here to talk about 2024. Collectively, we've been going through so many things in the last 4 years that I believe it's important to look into the stars and see what it is that these constellations and stars are revealing to us. Just like we talk about frequencies, it's important to look into what constellations are showing us and how they're guiding humanity. And of course, it's all up to each individual to make a decision whether to follow what you're feeling and how you're being guided or not. Also, I wanted to briefly mention that Lada has a very special thing that she does every single year. And this year she's offering 2024 video horoscopes that you'll be able to find on AstroladaOfficial. So welcome, Lada, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Elena.
Yes.
I love how you come to my audience. I come to yours. You do the vibrational readings for us. People look forward to it. I do the astrology. And we always find correlations with the astrology and what you read through vibrational revelations. And it's fascinating to see that kind of all roads lead to Rome. No matter where we try to look for truth and find out, it shows us similar events.
Yes, similar events and similar patterns. So I want to talk about briefly different transits, or perhaps you can introduce different transits, what to expect from an astrological point of view for 2024, and what are some highs and lows depending on the zodiac sign that the person is.
Oh, absolutely. I will try to cover everything as quickly as possible. I always do a video that is about 1.5 hours for the whole year, but I'm going to summarize here. The biggest event that is happening this year is that Pluto, the smallest planet, we don't even consider it a planet anymore, but it punches so strong. It has so much impact, even though it's small. It's some of the biggest changes in society happens when Pluto does something important. And this is happening this year. For the last 15 years, since 2008, Pluto has been in Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn. So it entered 2008, and exactly as it entered, we had the financial crisis, bank after bank starting to collapse. And last year, 2023, for 2 months only, Pluto dipped into a new sign in Aquarius in March, April, and May. And what happened then? We had 4 of the biggest banks, 3 in America, 1 in Europe, Credit Suisse. In America was that bank that I forgot their names, but they like dominoes, huge banks with great credibility, they collapsed. But Pluto was very shortly and it dipped back into Capricorn. And this year, from the 20th of January, it enters Aquarius, and it's going to stay there for 20 years. And those ingresses, when it changes, are the most shaky ones. Always in astrology, we know when a planet changes energy, big shifts are happening. We're going to feel it collectively over the next 2-3 months. And I just judging what it did in the last 2023, when it was just for 2 months in Aquarius, we had the appearance of AI. It became a global phenomenon. Exactly, March, April, everyone started using AI. I mean, even I'm using AI now. My lawyer is using AI. And that's very Aquarius in it. Energy rules technologies, Aries rules, Aquarius rules digitalization, and Pluto intensifies those processes. So we're entering a trend for 20 years of intense digitalization, AI, and whatnot, very complex systems. So I see again a big jump of AI. Maybe they'll bring the next generation AI that will be, and it's going to be developing so fast. And it's starting already from the end of January. And I'm seeing, because Aquarius, the other thing Aquarius rules is markets. Aquarius rules any systems where you bring ideas, exchange goods. Back in the past, it used to be you go in the marketplace and you gossip and you bring your tomatoes and your eggs. Now it's the markets in the world. What does Pluto do? It destroys and rebuilds again, totally annihilates. So going into Aquarius, it's the economic system. I think there will be some big shakeups. I'm not sure.
If I may say something, at the Red Sea right now, which is 40% of world goods go through that Red Sea.
Yeah.
There is a disruption already that's happening. I wonder if it's linked to that.
Yes, Aquarius rules networks and supply chains.
There you
Aquarius is
go.
any kind of complex systems without a center, so any kind of routes,
Mm.
networks, supply chains. And Pluto, it's already being felt. It's on the cusp there. It's starting. Pluto is a big disruptor, big disruptor. It started very well that you mentioned it because it's very Aquarius. And the whole economic system, I don't know if it will be torn apart and a new economic system will happen, or whether it will be, because Pluto thankfully is not making hard aspects. So there'll be big shakeups, but I think somehow the transition will let's say Pluto is actually making a lot of good aspects over the next 2-3 years. So somehow the transition is not going to be as scary as we think, but the old economic system will deconstruct and a new one will come, and a new the power, the elites will shift again. In Capricorn, it was the elites for the old school, what we call Capricorn rules hierarchical structures. Pluto is something hidden, so it was like the deep state. We became all aware of the deep state. 15 years ago, no one knew what deep state was, but when Pluto entered Capricorn, the sign it's leaving now, because Pluto reveals the dirty secrets and power grabs and manipulations of every sign it transits. And Capricorn is the governments, is the big corporations, and that's how they're interconnected, how they work for the deep government, deep state, and not for the interests of people. So Pluto totally dismantled the trust of people in organizations like banking, corporations, and governments that we've had for decades and hundreds of years, and any kind of institutions. And it's who believes those? You
part of me,
contributed a lot to bring a lot of those down.
Part of me wonders, though, with this Pluto and Aquarius, and you're talking about financial systems, it could also be that there could be a temporary, almost like totalitarian. It's a way that totalitarian regime can come in right now, because there's so much instability and chaos under the pretense of protecting the people and bringing this digital currency and connecting everyone through the AI around the globe. This is what I'm thinking, and I've been thinking about it for
exactly what will happen.
Okay.
That's exactly what will happen, but it's a 20-year period. Pluto will be in Aquarius. It will start like that, and we'll end up with a totally new. There will be alternative systems of trading, alternative system of money exchange. They'll develop over the next 20 years, that whoever does not want to be part of this really controlled digital system, with Pluto in Aquarius, they would be developed new internet for those that don't want to be. There'll be ways out, but initially, because Pluto rules tyranny. Pluto is one of the planets that is obsessed with control. Going in Aquarius, technology, CBDC, central, the markets, everything will be very controlled at the beginning, and it will happen with a crisis, because Pluto rules crisis. Every time it makes an ingress, we have some crisis. When it went into Capricorn 2008, we had crisis with Capricorn thing, which is real estate. Capricorn rules real estate, anything tangible. Now we have a crisis with the markets overall, and also society crisis, but Pluto rules terrorism as well. And Aquarius rules cyber, anything cyber, internet. So one big crisis that can happen, and it's 2024, 2025, because Pluto will come out just for 2 months again in 2024 and come back into Aquarius fully for 20 years in 2025. So sometime now, either around this ingress or maybe towards next year, there might be danger of cyber terrorism or some kind of a swan or how do they call it? Black swan event?
Yes.
Or of flag, fake flag, or I forgot
false flag event.
But some crisis. So this new social economic system can be ushered in. But the interesting thing is that Pluto is receiving incredible aspects over the next 2-3 years from Uranus, from Neptune, a lot of good aspects, which I don't think it will be as scary or as bad. There will be ways around it, and there will be a lot of help for people to not only to cope, but to thrive in that and make their way out of it. And the other thing that Aquarius rules is, unfortunately, Aquarius is demographics. It rules the normal people. And Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is a planet of death and destruction. So we've been seeing in the last couple of years already big raising of death. People don't know, unexpected. Some countries have 40% higher death rate than years before 2021. So Aquarius is the demographics. I see it, there'll be less people over the next 20 years starting from now. And there will be reduction of the growth of population and kind of like a mass exodus, because Aquarius rules all the people, all the, kind of, if Leo, the opposite sign, is the king, Aquarius is the people, the normal Joe, and that's us. And there is some kind of, Pluto is very reductionist planet, crisis planet. But let me give you an example. I feel very positive about Pluto in Aquarius because last time Pluto was in Aquarius was 1780 something for 20 years. That's when the French Revolution happened. So humans, basically, before that, Pluto was in Capricorn. They were disappointed. They saw the lies of those in power back then. So comes the French Revolution. But it's a bit of what is dangerous is the mob mentality, herd mentality that Pluto in Aquarius. When people in a herd mentality, in a mob, they can do some crazy stuff, like they decapitated all the royals back then in France. So civil unrest. And there were a lot of civil wars last time Pluto was in Aquarius. And one of them was the American Independence War again. So the push of Pluto in Aquarius is people to free themselves, the normal people. These were the first beginning of the abolition movements as well, of slavery. So the ultimate goal of Pluto in Aquarius is amazing. It's freedom. They get it. 250 years ago when Pluto was in Aquarius, people got it. America freed itself from the taxes and from England. France stopped being a monarchy, became a republic. So we'll see a huge changes in society. It's not going to be the same social order though. And it happens only once every 250 years. It's very rare. It's very powerful. And this is when humans become very active, and it's grassroots movements. Aquarius rules something from the bottom up, not from the top down. And people will organize themselves because Pluto also rules power. Who has the power? Well, while Pluto was in Capricorn, governments, corporations, deep states, they have the power. It's changing. Now the power initially might go to Aquarius. Aquarius is scientists, Aquarius is technocrats, those that have the technologies, but Aquarius is the normal people as well. So I see this as the rebellion of the normal people against the elites or whatever it is. This is always when normal human beings were given more freedoms and more human rights, or where they become very aware of atrocities and of the civil rights being trampled. Because always initially it starts with the rights of the humans get really smashed. Pluto shows its ruthless side. So some acts towards humanity where it's dehumanizing almost. Your civil rights are taken, your freedom. Aquarius rules freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression, and Pluto first suppresses it. And that pushes a big opposite reaction of people, and people wanting to take their power back. And if you know, currently the whole of Central Europe is on strike. All the farmers have blocked all of Germany, Poland, Romania. They don't want the new taxes, and the people saying we're taking back the power. We're not going to be paying those taxes for green gases or whatever. And the governments are backing down, and we'll see more and more of that starting from 2024. People, grassroots organizations coming into power, showing their strength, and more trying to be suppressed, to their freedoms to be taken. That's the negative side. But it's not gonna hold like we saw 250 years ago. And Aquarius has this very viral energy to it. Changes happen fast. I can give an example. While Pluto was transiting through Capricorn for the last 15 years, Capricorn is a very slow sign. It's ruled by Saturn. So Pluto means deep transformations on a psychological level. So on a personal level, think back, everyone that is listening, maybe there was some area of your life that you had to keep over and over and over and work very hard with mobilizing all your soul resources, psychological, mental resources to overcome some issue. Or maybe because Capricorn is about repeating a lesson over and over and things move slowly. Well, that's maybe some area of your life. I don't know if it was in your career sector, maybe it was with your career, slowly taking your power back, learning to be powerful, to be organized, with a lot of setbacks and challenges. If it's in your 12th house, maybe there were ups and downs with addictions and over, one of the same problem that you're trying to work through. But now Pluto is leaving Capricorn, which it will give a big gift to people, whatever area Pluto was transiting for you from your ascendant, that's how we look at it. You'll be rewarded there. You'll be rewarded, but Pluto going into Aquarius is a very much lighter sign. It's not as thick as Capricorn. It doesn't need repetition. And psychologically, people start noticing that there'll be a lot of changes that they're able to create within themselves. For example, it's not going to be one big push of 20 years working on one area and repeating. It's fast moving, bam, 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 next. And Pluto allows you to cut with the past, Pluto in Aquarius, because Aquarius is not a sentimental sign. It moves very fast. It's like it's represented by lightnings, Aquarius. So imagine Pluto, the planet of transformation. It will be like fast storms coming into your life, psychologically, emotionally, or certain area of your life, wherever Pluto transits, and quickly. But you're not going to be stuck in this crisis for years, like with Pluto and Capricorn might have been. It's a fast change, and you cut the cord with the past and you're free. So one after another, for many years, you'll do those things unapologetically, not turning back to the past longingly. Oh, I wish I could still do that, but it's not for me anymore. Or, oh, I still want to be with them. But no, it's going, so many bridges will be burned. So many toxic patterns, behaviors will follow very quickly. And Pluto is imagined like fires, destructive fires. Aquarius is air sign, strong winds. So imagine like a fire, wind blows, spreads virally, destroys certain area of your life or certain way of thinking or models or patterns, because Aquarius is a mental sign. It's more like it will totally shift maybe overnight. It's how you think about certain things, some patterns in your mind. And we know that the deepest changes, long-lasting, that happen, and the easiest are when they happen from the mind, not with willpower, like I'm going to do this over and over, like Capricorn, till I get it right. No, it's like something clicks in your mind. This is Aquarius, the mind. Pluto is very deep realization, something makes sense, and from tomorrow, you're a new person. From tomorrow, you think differently. So you'll start noticing in more and more this Pluto, how changes happen much faster, and people are not turning back to the past. So there's very futuristic forward. So that's very hopeful as well. A lot of things we can cut out that with Pluto and Capricorn will still back forth. So that's one of the things. Then there's another big aspect happening, and that's where the spring, April 20th, something, but you're going to feel it. You're feeling it already. This is Uranus with Jupiter. This happens once every 12, 13 years only. And they would the planets of huge innovations and flows of inspiration and higher knowledge. Jupiter rules angelic wisdom, Uranus rules divine wisdom. When they combine together, we'll be given this whole year, because they're close to each other, will be given, and it's in Taurus. Maybe new knowledge about how to grow food. Maybe, and as we know, there's a lot of innovations that maybe are not so divine about foods that's been happening since Uranus and Jupiter together in the last 1 year. All kind of genetically modified foods and printed foods. And that's part of Uranus, Jupiter scientific progress. And it can have a low vibration like that, but I believe that there will be a lot of knowledge is coming in dispensation and awareness about natural farming or other ways of growing food. And a lot of awareness comes to people about what they're eating. And we're seeing it already. In the whole 2024, it's very, very, and the 2023, it was very active, 2024. So a big revival about people being conscious of how they eat, what they eat. Of course, Taurus is money. And Uranus and Jupiter is something totally brand new that will come very fast. And it's happening around April, and usually they can indicate some event that is so sudden, so unexpected, coupled with Pluto in Aquarius, with the markets and the system. There might be something that happens that changes overnight, within a few weeks, the financial system or the value of money. But also I'm expecting a big jump in, because Uranus is anything digital. Jupiter is wealth, Taurus is money. Those digital money, but these are the free digital money, like Bitcoins and other altcoins, that they would rise very much in price this spring. I don't know how long it will keep this price. Maybe at the summer it will start going down, but there is a big with just this very expansive planets, Uranus, Jupiter. Uranus is fast like a lightning. Jupiter is expansive and big. Taurus is money and value. Either price is going suddenly very high, or a big jump in the value of those Bitcoins and such kind of currencies. But also I can see this being used as a way to launch the CBDCs and them taking very fast as well. I don't think money will be abolished yet, not until Saturn is the blocking influence, comes into Taurus in about 5-6 years. That's when I think they might try and just take cash out fully. But for now, they're introducing the new financial things that is happening here. But it's also very good because people can come up with other alternative systems of payment, of value, and so on. But I think even on the stock market, things, especially around the spring, might be high. And then I don't know how long it can last, though. And then we have, but Jupiter and Uranus will join on a star that is considered the most difficult star in astrology. It's called Algol, the evil spirit. And it's known for its destructiveness. And even the ancient Chinese people, they describe the stars like as cadavers upon cadavers, bodies upon bodies, like some mass destruction. Because Taurus is the sign, this is earth, this is nature. It might be something of nature related. So we have to be careful, especially around the time, the exact conjunction, April, May, of such kind of situations.
Like natural disasters you're talking about,
yes,
right? Hurricanes, earthquakes,
yes.
tornadoes. Okay.
Uranus is planet that shakes everything. Taurus is the
earthquakes.
Jupiter expands everything. Earthquakes, but also, it can be anything because of the star there, that there is an exodus of souls and that it becomes more destructive. But it's also considered a star of wealth. It has two meanings. It's destructive, but also star of wealth. So I see this can be a big boom for some people for wealth around that time. Whoever grabs the right train, or in some area in your life, it might be wealth not just through money, it might be wealth through knowledge, because Jupiter and Uranus is very much about dispensation of knowledge from above. That knowledge that it's time's come and you kind of download it. So people will have around April, May, even earlier, some incredible downloads, like a solution, eureka moment, solution of something that they suddenly know how to solve it, suddenly know a new opportunity, and it's maybe they've worked hard on that, or maybe they just deserve it for some reason, and God or higher powers give them the answer. So opportunity is a combination of sudden flux of opportunity, like it falls in your lap, and it's very good time for anyone who wants to start anything educational, business, teaching, because Uranus and Jupiter is all about that, esoteric business, knowledge-based from the spring onwards. Fantastic, and then Jupiter starts moving in Gemini from June. So first, Taurus is the first 5 months of the year will be very blessed. If you have Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, till the end of May, it's your time to start big things. Good opportunities will come to you. Something it's good, like your higher self will help you, if you're Taurus. And then Jupiter moves into Gemini from the second part of the month. Geminis will be the ones that will have opportunities and until the middle of 2025 for them. But Gemini overall, for everyone who's the internet and social media, I see a boom of new companies, new social media outlets that appear, ways of connecting, maybe even the beginning of a new type of internet that will start coming. 12 years ago, when Jupiter was here again, that was the coming of Instagram and such kind, I think. They were all picking up around that time. Also, Gemini is education, so fantastic time for educational systems. I believe that from 2024, from the middle, there'll be a lot of beginnings of alternative education for children, for grown-ups, easy access to knowledge and information, easier and easier, and companies making it big that are educational. If you're teaching someone, whether it's online or teaching people training any skills or any knowledge, wow, fantastic here, you know, from June onwards or even from May onwards, for such things, go ahead until the end of May 2025. Gemini is transportation. So I see that they'll start putting a lot of investments into transportation, new ways of transportation, and new infrastructure. And that will carry on not just in 2024, because after that, Uranus in 2025 enters here for 7 years. So the next 6, 7, 8 years, starting with Jupiter, I think they'll start building a lot of fast speed trains, and they'll be pushing for such kind of development of such, you know, fast travel, but not with own vehicles probably, because when Uranus enters into Gemini, it's going to be all about digitalization of all transportations. And Gemini also rules neighborhoods. So there'll be a big push, because Jupiter is usually something good, like ennobling of the environment of the neighborhoods. And they're proposing great stuff. Every neighborhood will have its own park. It will have everything, doctors, everything, schools, whatever you need to, will make it so beautiful that you don't need to leave it ever. And that's the danger of it. But I'm seeing this thing with neighborhoods pushing from very strongly local neighborhood development from 2024.
Have you, you know what it reminds me of? Have you seen the new community that is being proposed in Saudi Arabia in the middle of the desert? It
The
looks
line.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It's called the line. That's right. Where you cannot leave. Everything is there, and you're literally trapped. We have to do a frequency read on that.
No, but you know, so many people. Even I notice sometimes I don't leave my house for 10 days. Only my husband would go take the kids to school and back, and out. I a bit live like that, you know. So many people will not mind. You have
They'll be
everything
okay with
around.
that. Yeah.
But it's so easy to be controlled. And that's what Pluto, going back to the 20-year period, Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is the people. Pluto is control. The dark forces will use Pluto in Aquarius to try and control the people as possible. Wow, the
under the pretense of we're creating this ideal world for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Digital comfort.
They would really make, the neighborhoods will be beautiful. Honestly, they would be like, you'd not want to live. With Jupiter entering there, with Uranus, the transportation will be so easy. It's like,
this is the 2030 agenda, that you don't need to own a vehicle, you don't need to own a property. You'll have the income, right? That's yeah.
It will be a lot of people would accept it because I'm watching at all the other transits Pluto is making as well, because there's sextiles and trines, and people would like it. Actually, they would like it.
But with AI coming to the market, which we already know that they're saying, and I think you've read the book Scary Smart, how AI is already 1 billion times smarter than humans. So that means in the next however many 10 years, they're talking about 40% of jobs will be lost. So this is where I think the Pluto and Aquarius will kind of control people, right? By promising them, well, you don't have to work, you don't need to have a car, you don't need to have a house. There's going to be a system of where you're going to get paid just for being, right? This is a
just
system.
Stay at home, watch TV, and that's it, and hang out. Imagine.
I'm sure there will be people excited to have that kind of system too.
It can be very all thousands of incarnations with wars, with starving. Some people.
And then did you see those new goggles that are coming out through Apple? Have you seen that?
No.
So Apple has a new product. It's launching, and I think those goggles are $3,000. This is going to be their brand new, most exciting. Just like years ago, they talked about iPhone, where you're going to have alternate reality. So they're hoping that people are going to be hooked to these goggles, walking around with them, sitting with them, tuning into this alternate reality where everything is brighter, it looks better. So I think this is going to be another step towards.
Oh my God, and I can imagine how easy it's to get hooked. I get hooked on computer games. I can confess that
Mhm.
I love, like, my kids started playing and I'm like pushing them away and I'm like, go there, do that. No, plant this tomato. No. And I caught myself yesterday 10 hours. And I'm like, if those
Wow.
goggles, I'll probably not want to get out of there. It's very dangerous. And something about, I think, those cities where they're going to live, where we're going to neighborhood, because Pluto in Aquarius controls the regeneration and it's very infertile position. Just like the opposite, when Pluto was in Leo, it was the baby boomers, Pluto in Leo generation. Well, Pluto in Aquarius, there'll be one baby per 3 people or something like that, you know. There'll be people will not be recreating themselves, so there'll be infertility as well, or they won't be incentivized to have children or limited with 1 child or 2. But also, as they said, the beautiful things about Pluto in Aquarius is that there will be a lot of, you know, some people would accept that new social order, but others will not, just like it happened with the American Revolution. And I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. There's 20 years, maybe 7, 8 years from now, maybe somewhere in this process, a big chunk of people will break away or destroy the whole system, or break away and create a different system that is truly freeing. That is truly freeing, not in a digital artificial way. So I'm very hopeful because
But
there's
I
some.
see, though, I can't imagine the digital system is not going to be part of it. I still think it has to be part of it. Like for us, for example, we are using,
Oh, yeah.
digital.
Yes, but not to enslave and monitor people, not to
Yes.
censor people. It will be used to
Yes.
free people. That's what it should be, to free
Support.
people.
That's right. Yeah.
But there'll be, you know, when I looked at the astrology ahead, because I was very scared, I was thinking, that's it, we're doomed. Actually, I see so much helpful astrology influences starting over the next 2-3 years. So yes, this control will tighten up around us, but there'll be some alternatives. And for anyone that has a little bit of a desire to dig, they'll find those alternatives, create an alternative economic system, Aquarius, alternative, even financial system, and so on. So all those things will develop, and eventually the other controlling system itself destructs itself. You know, anything nefarious itself destructs.
Yes.
Wow. And yeah, just one thing that worries me is Pluto, Neptune are getting closer and closer together, and they'll get very close. On 2025, they'll be together in the verge of Pisces and Aries. And last time Pluto and Neptune were together, again, big change in society. That's when the Berlin Wall fell, communism fell down in Eastern Europe. So huge, Saturn rules governments. Uranus is sudden change. So there'll be big changes with governments. But what worries me is that every time I look back, there is pandemics. 1917, when Saturn and Pluto were conjunct together, was the Spanish pneumonia, like, you know, not flu, it was some kind of pneumonia. And a lot of people disappeared. So there is danger here of some other pandemic, maybe not 2024, but 2025, 2026, around that time. And this time, it's more dangerous. This time, it might be more enhanced. So that's what worries me on a negative.
But this is also a great opportunity, I will say, for people to really begin to take charge of their health, really evaluate what are you eating, what are you consuming that is whether supporting your physical system or contributing to weakening it. And this is something I think one of the greatest gifts that came out of from 2023, you could say pandemic, is speaking to a friend of mine who is a geneticist, and she's a gastroenterologist. She has her own laboratory, actually. If it wasn't for COVID, okay, we would never know of what happens truly to the microbiome, because she was the first one to sequence COVID in the stool. So this is Dr. Sabine Hazan. So as a result of it, because of this one particular, you could say, one particular bacteria strain, there's several of them, that is responsible for our immune system, that actually what she saw as a result was completely either was wiped out by vaccination, completely wiped out.
What was completely wiped out? The gut
Bifidobacteria. So bifidobacteria,
Uh-huh.
people that got the shots, right?
Uh-huh.
It completely wiped out the bifidobacteria.
So
People
that's
that
why the immune system is down?
yes. People that
Oh.
were symptomatic, that didn't get the shot, but got the SARS-CoV-2, okay, or different variants of it, had also weak microbiome. So there's a lot that we've learned during the last 3.5 years, which has to do with our microbiome, which goes back to the terrain theory, right? So it is absolutely important, and this is maybe what is linked to what you're seeing many people are going to exit, is those that are not taking care of their health. We're talking about holistically, body, mind, and soul, right? They don't care about it. There is going to be, then it's going to make you more prone to having whatever is coming a year from now or 2 years from now, which you're talking about based on the astrology. So right now is the time to rebuild your immune system. The other thing that I also wanted to say, because I had to take continuing education class on immunizations, there is actually from CDC and World Health Organization, they're talking about their agenda of vaccinating 90% of world population. Okay, this is unheard of by 2030. So what does it say? What does it tell us about our immune system? That we're told not to trust our own natural immunity, right? Our own innate ability to heal, for our bodies to heal itself. So yes, if you're eating terrible foods and you're consuming, you're having constant chronic stress, you're going to decrease your chances of being healthy, of recovering from whatever is coming your way. So again, this is an invitation for people to claim their health and not constantly have to rely on an outside source to tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's that's also another thing I've been seeing with Saturn in Pisces currently. Pisces is unknown things. And it's all those unknown, died suddenly, we don't know the cases, why they're dying, unknown illnesses. They cannot diagnose them. And these are hidden illnesses, and that continues for the next 2 years, unfortunately. And Pisces rules in astrology, guess what? The immune system.
There you go.
Somehow as well. Also, I think it's connected to the lymph or the immune system in some way, the detoxing of the body. And Saturn, this kind of turbo cancers that are appearing everywhere, that never was such a thing before. I kind of predicted it 2 years before, when Saturn started entering into, before it entered into Pisces, because the Pisces is the immune system. Saturn clogs the ability of the body to detox when it transits there. There is, we know why the reason is for many people, but I kept telling people, you need to really strengthen your immune system. And as you say, it's through food, because the immunity is in the stomach mostly,
Yes.
which is fascinating to know that. But what about people that, like, I got COVID and I was destroyed after that for 3 months. And I'm someone that eats very healthy, and still
Yes.
it's
so some people are born with strong microbiome and others are not. So it's important to test your microbiome. There's a lab you can test your stool sample and have it analyzed. And there's many different labs on the market. Unfortunately, most of them are not accurate. But I do know that Dr. Sabine this is her own lab, and she is a clinical trial company as well. So you can actually send your stool sample and see what is truly going on in your microbiome. Because as I said, some people are born with strong microbiome and others are not. So you can be eating healthy, it doesn't mean anything. And also some probiotics people take, most of them do not implant. That's the other thing, is
that's what I was going to ask you, because you're medical
yes.
professional, and do those probiotics work?
Very few that do. Very few. So for example, there are some good sources of probiotics that you can get from food, like things like kimchi, sauerkraut, which is part of some cultures, right?
We just made kimchi.
There you go. Yeah, pickles, which is great. But again, it doesn't necessarily rebuild your bifidobacteria. And what we're seeing is the bifidobacteria is critical right now throughout pandemics. And this is why you were probably hit with COVID so hard, is perhaps your bifido was not enough. There weren't
How
enough.
do you build this bifidobacteria?
So there's things you can take for it. So
Mhm.
there's certain probiotics that you could take for it that will rebuild it. For those people that have absolutely none, there's talks about, I know that Dr. Sabine talks about fecal transplants. Again, this is very controversial. It has to be a genetic match. It needs to be somebody who's your age or younger. You can't get it from somebody who's older than you.
Mhm.
And it takes a while also to implant. So, and again, it cannot be anyone that's vaccinated or anyone that has weaker immune system. So there is a lot of rules around that as well. So for people who are interested, they should definitely reach out to her and look into it.
Fascinating. Should
Yeah.
learn more about that. Well, I guess I can speak for hours, but I don't want to bore
We were
you.
talking about Neptune. You talked about Neptune and Pluto. Can you briefly touch upon what
Neptune and
Neptune is
Saturn, yeah.
responsible, or Neptune and what?
Neptune and Saturn.
Ah,
So we get together last time actually when the wall of where the Berlin
Berlin
Wall
walking
actually,
down.
they were all together, Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn. So such epochal big changes. While Pluto is going in Aquarius, where the biggest changes always happen when Pluto is in Aquarius for society collectively. And then we're gonna have Neptune and Saturn together
And
here.
Saturn is what? Rules and regulations?
Yes, and Neptune is dissolving that, dissolving the old system again, breaking it, like washing it away. And Saturn is governments and bureaucracies. There'll be a confusion for a couple of years, like where is the rule? What should we do because of what is coming, especially 25, 20, even from 24 again, 24, 25, 26. But also it's all the ideologies die out, the new one comes out. And every time Saturn and Neptune get together, huge things for communism. Karl Marx, who created the communist ideology, was born on Saturn-Neptune conjunction. The Red Revolution in Russia, 1917, Saturn-Neptune conjunction as well. Then was as well the end of the Second World War, so big mass exodus again,
Wow.
and loss of security. Saturn is security, you're stable, you know how things work. Neptune is totally washed away in the fog, and all security is undermined, and so people will be confused for a couple of years, like lack of security. Usually it's at the end of exhausting wars that this happens, and people like disillusioned with the system, or there is a mourning of some tragic loss as well. And Saturn also rules real estate or stability, the material stability. Neptune dissolves it. So I'm again worried that there'll be a big group of people that have this with Pluto entering in Aquarius, the markets are changing, the financial system is changing, and then some big loss when those two planets are coming together of material assets. Big, like Neptune is like magic tricks. Whoop, suddenly you don't have anything. Suddenly you lose it. It's like, or someone pulls out from under your feet and you don't know where you're standing anymore. So
Wow.
there's some kind of massive losses that can happen. And then, as I said, communism, big things in communism. Then next time Neptune and Saturn were conjunct, the Communist Party in China came up. Then the next time Saturn and Neptune were conjunct was when communism fell in Eastern Europe, for example. But communism in China started changing the capitalism more, but so something to do with, and when I speak communism, it doesn't mean like, oh, the red flags and we're going to be communist. This is the ideology of you own nothing, lack of
Exactly.
property. This is the idea of communism. And it's
The
kind of
government owns
ideology.
everything and people have nothing.
Yes, and like everything is for the common good, everything is collectively owned, but currently it's very hard for people. You need to have people in power who are angels if it's going to be done correctly. Because Neptune is to disappear, to dissolve. Saturn is security, assets, So that's, and instead of mine, yours, everything is collective. So there'll be some big development in that area.
Wow.
That will start big push 24, 25, 26 to be aware of. But also I have seen that new ideologies appear and new more humanistic systems, and people start inventing and structures and more. And another thing, miracles. Neptune, Saturn, 1917, Fatima. appears and starts in front of 30,000 people. They see, you know, the sun moving and those three kids, Fatima appears. So there will be some miraculous things happening. But that's more towards 2025. And there will be some appearances of higher beings or not aliens.
You know what I'm wondering about? If this is also the start, this Pluto Aquarius is the start of, there's a talk about colonizing space. If this is also the next 20 years,
absolutely,
we're looking into colonization of space.
Yes, Aquarius is space travel and technology, and Pluto is let's power graph. Let's buy a plot on the moon, or they'll start that.
So, and then what are some of the signs that are going to have a good time this year?
Well, everyone can, on a personal level, it's always people can benefit from no matter what is happening. But the ones that, okay, Tauruses, that the first part of the year, the first 4 or 5 months, fantastic time for them, opportunities, growth, ability to learn, to travel. Actually, it's a very good year for travel, guys. When Jupiter and Uranus are together in the spring, take a trip. Just be careful of natural disasters. But it's a good time to travel. Always, every time these two planets are together, people say fantastic time to travel, you know.
Oh, good. We're going to Egypt with 30 people.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. It's fantastic, especially travel with educational purpose, expansion purpose. But Tauruses are doing really good with a few new beginnings, Uranus there. Then Gemini start doing really good from June onwards for another year. Pisces are working hard. Pisces, they have Saturn in their sign, especially if you're born from 10 to 20 degrees Pisces, if people know their degrees, sun, moon, or ascendant. Saturn is in Pisces. It's required. The immune system might be a bit low because Saturn tends to suppress that, get more sick than normal, more tired. Or usually Saturn represents a lot of work, like whoever has strong Pisces. You were Pisces, weren't you?
Yes, yes.
So,
I'm working
and
hard.
Alejandro.
Yes,
so you'll be like building something from the bottom, foundations, a lot of focus on hard work. You have to be disciplined. Usually Pisces, not you, but usually Pisces are not very organized. Not you.
I'm very...
You have Saturn on the ascendant, so you're very organized.
Yes.
But that's actually good structuring influence for a lot of Pisces, because it will make them focus, organize themselves, concentrate, be more... It's not very romantic influence. It's not very easy. There's some challenges to overcome. There's hard work, but whoever respects Saturn, whoever is moderate in things like you are, whoever has been hardworking or smart working, Saturn rewards them. They still will have to put in hours and work hard, but Saturn really gives them more seniority, more growth in business and career, building something substantial, while those who are lazy, who are not disciplined, now it's tough for them. Usually they see the consequences of slovenly life or health consequences, like if you've been overdoing something, it starts breaking down. But it can be great for some Pisces to get rid of addictive behaviors or unhealthy behaviors, because Saturn helps you be more strict, organized. So, but they're the ones that's a bit tougher for them. And so are Virgos, because Pisces, Saturn is opposing Virgo. So Virgo is very similar to what I said to Pisces, but they might have, for them, it might come a bit through others, like others pushing their buttons more, rethinking their relationships, deciding to put boundaries and remove unhealthy relationships from their life, or maybe a partner who is pushing them in a certain direction. But Virgos deal better with Saturn because they're usually well organized. Then another sign that might do really well is Aries. Well, that will have important events in their life, because eclipses are happening on the axis of Aries and Libra. So Aries and Libra, there is an eclipse in April and March, one in Aries, one in Libra, and there is one again in October in Libra again. So when eclipses happen, it means sudden shift of fate, change in the direction of your life. And it's usually something fated, and it comes fast. And so usually years when there is an eclipse in your sun sign or ascendant or moon, fated events like meeting a life partner or getting a divorce, but it's something that is almost like you've written a contract before that, or finding the job that that is the right job for you, or giving birth of a baby, or buying property, such big things, you know. But usually, often in some kind of, for Aries in particular, new beginnings, though for Libra, they'll have to sacrifice and let go of something. And maybe because of others, maybe because of a relationship, but it's like shedding of a skin, because the North and South Node that caused the eclipses, they're presented like a dragon with a head and a tail. So the tail falls in Libra, the dragon's head falls in Aries. And as we know, snakes and dragons, they shed their skin. So there's some kind of shedding of skin for Aries. And for Aries, it's more like they should rely more on themselves, be more, they will be more independent, while for Libra, they should rely more on others while letting go of certain attachments. But some powerful new beginnings for both signs, and important developments in relationships as well. While Aries feel more enhanced and more material gains, while Libra will have more spiritual gains and of the soul gains, but also possibly Libra can meet a soulmate this year, or get married, or something important in relationships. Then another sign that Aquarius, we talked a lot about Aquarius. Capricorn, relief. This Pluto is leaving their sign. The first 5 months, Capricorn are really helped by Jupiter from Taurus. So for Capricorn, the first 5 months, go ahead, start new things. There'll be opportunities, growth, expansion. That will be good for them. And then the second 6 months may be very good for work for Capricorn, and for health routines, to organize themselves, to but they have a big heavy energy leaving them in January, and it will dip back again in Capricorn for 2 months, I think October and November, but they'll barely feel it. It's been very hard for many Capricorns. Like they had over and over and over. Pluto might smash them down for 15 years. They lift their head. Pluto smashes them, humbles them, because Capricorn is very tough energy, very dense energy to work through. So Pluto massaged them real deep tissue. And it's leaving them now kind of aching, but stronger and more empowered. And they'll feel like the energy lightens up for them. They'll become less serious, more joyful, like they did the hard work. Now Aquarians, now it's their turn. They'll do the deep massaging there. But for Aquarius, like I said, the changes will be faster, because Aquarius is a fast sign, and profound, and the big, such huge changes in their life, but only in 2024, only those born the first 4 or 5 degrees. The later ones probably they have to wait, but they'll start feeling this desire to be free, to gain their power back, and to confront some of their biggest demons. Pluto makes you confront your biggest demons and win. And then you're not afraid of that. But the process of just hearing you're going to confront your biggest demons, not going to be easy.
But the demons come from within, right? It's the inner work. So it sounds like Aquarians are doing the deep inner work.
Yes, but but then they'll be given huge power if they do the work right. Or if they've been abusing power, or they've been not living right, Pluto can smash you. Pluto can give you such a crisis that humbles you and destroys your ego. But people that moral, kind, humble, or they'll just feel more willpower, more strength to change themselves and transform themselves, and almost do miracles with the laser focused willpower they have. Or they can experience a bit of both, being a bit smashed and getting empowered. Wow. But yeah, Leo, similar, like Aquarius, because Pluto will start opposing Leo, and they should just, but only the very early born Leos. It's a year that will test their willpower and eventually strengthen it. And of course, with Pluto, sometimes they can be like extreme events. Pluto rules deaths, births, conceptions, big transformations, and so on. But for Leo, there'll be, support as well. For Leo, it's a good time to travel. If you're Leo rising, travel this year, do educational stuff because of North Node here and so on. And Leos will make some great friends this year from the second part, and more gains. Some new friends that are from the soul tribe, from the second part of 2024. Did I miss someone?
Oh,
Cancer.
Sagittarius
Oh,
and
Sagittarius.
Cancer.
Yes, and Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Cancer. Cancer, it's now the first part of the year is very good for friendships for you and socializing. You can meet some important people that help fulfill a dream or a goal. You can expand your social economic status and gain. You can even receive some reward, material, financial, or social, or maybe present some business to the world and it get approved, that get more following or clients or business. That is very good if you were Cancer rising, wasn't it?
And Cancer moon.
Okay, yes, it's time for you
Yes.
to expand your following and it gains financially as well, and to get together with big groups of people. This is the 11th house where Jupiter and Uranus is, and to make some acquaintances and connections that will be extremely beneficial and favorable for you, not just now, but for the next 12 years. So contacts, more clients, expanding your network, and so on. And then the second part of the year, it will be more about, and of course, it will be more about maybe taking more breaks from June, opportunity to travel to foreign places, opportunity to escape a little bit, but you have Saturn on your moon, on your sun, so you still have to work hard. There's no escape there.
Exactly.
And also educational opportunities are very good for Cancer with Saturn in the 9th house of higher knowledge, teaching. So for you, it will be like teaching responsibilities that Saturn gives. While Jupiter in the 12th house gives incredible insights from the second part of the year, from June onwards, almost like intuition becomes so powerful, dream world, dream work, spiritual insights, spiritual visions, any kind of healing spiritual work. This is the 12th house, and deep research as well. Deep research, and like you suddenly download and know information as well of this kind, and secrets being revealed, and traveling foreign places or other worlds if you astro travel, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in Cancer, you know, Pluto starts bothering them. It's moving away. It's not going to be opposite their sign anymore, so they'll feel relief as well. So Cancer is pretty nice, actually. And then we have Sagittarius. They have most of the planets underneath. Yeah, they're a little bit tested, possibly with family issues, with place of living, with responsibilities with parents or children. They have to do the hard work there with Saturn in the 7th, in the 4th house. You know, sometimes might be taking care of family business of some sort, or ailing parents, or just responsibility of being a parent yourself, or something, fixing a house or something, dealing with papers for property and so on, and it's a bit slower moving because of Saturn. And emotionally, it can feel a little bit heavier, digging deep into your past childhood history with a psychologist, trying to understand, because this is the foundation, the family, your childhood, to understand such things, and doing some healing, but in a slow process. But they will have the first part of the year will be good for their work, to expand. If they want to change a job, get a new job, grow, get more employees, for example, and also to gain knowledge about their health, because Jupiter and Uranus, they're knowledge planets, like supplements, exercise, doesn't necessarily give you the willpower to do it, but an understanding of what is your health issue, where it's stemming from, you get the right answers, where some health issue might be coming from. And then Jupiter from the middle of the year, from June onwards, enters your 7th house, Sagittarius. And for the next 1 year, from June 2024 to June 2025, some of you might meet a soulmate. Some of you might marry. Some of you might, if you're in an unhappy marriage, can divorce and it feels like freedom, but new people enter your life. Also, you can make more clients, more connections with others, more new people entering your life. It's good if you partner from the second part of the year to be successful, because success comes to you through others. Someone can open a path for you, you can partner together and so on. Or your partner, if your relationship has been a bit hard, it can improve now, it can be renewed. Or your partners can have your marriage partner can have some positive developments in their life that opens opportunities for you as well, or they lighten up and brighten up. But the cardinal year for Sagittarius, it's home, family, relationships, big changes there. And then I think Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Scorpio, the first 5 months are good for relationships for you. Maybe meeting someone new, falling in love, or getting married, committing, or just someone appearing in your life that changes your perspective, or making business deals with others, or partnering, or gaining more clients as well. And you're more outgoing, and with Jupiter in your 7th house and Uranus there might be some big surprise that comes to you from others around the spring. But your planet, you feel very strongly the change of Pluto, because Pluto rules Scorpio from Capricorn, which is much denser and heavier energy, to Aquarius. So you start feeling like you're moving in a more rare atmosphere, not so dense, and that you kind of brighten up a little bit, because Aquarius is a more positive sign and fast. But Pluto will be in your 4th house for 20 years. That's deep psychological work you can do for 20 years ahead.
Wow.
Some of you might become incredible psychologists if you're Scorpio, because Pluto in the 4th house works with family constellation, psychology, deep insights about your childhood and your ancestry and family and so on. But there might be some big transformations that can start happening for especially early born Scorpios, those born in the first 2-3 days of Scorpio. So that would be October 23, 4, 5, 6. That happens with a huge, huge change, for example, with family, with place of living, settling, parents, and your own emotional, some kind of big revelations and even crisis, but like almost purging emotions, painful emotions stored for many years. But otherwise, yeah, Pluto is in your 5th house, Jupiter is in your 7th house. 5th house is about falling in love. Jupiter is about making connections and partnerships. So there is a big focus here for those of you who are single, and also possibly some kind of a responsibility you can take together with another partner. And they can be Pluto in the Saturn in the 5th house. It's not so much about having fun this year. It's more about even limiting the fun because of responsibilities and duties of some sort, and possibly because responsibilities with children and so on. But if a new person enters your life, you would be more selective because of Saturn in the 5th house. You'd have certain expectations, but there'll be a lot of opportunities for that to come to you. And also with Saturn in the 5th house, Scorpio, this year you can work towards fulfilling some dream of your, not dream, but some talent. If you have some talent, for example, you're a very good piano player, or you're very good at knitting, or you're very good at filmmaking or writing, anything creative talent, you can turn it into business, because Saturn means to make something tangible, to make something real, practical. And this is your creative talents. So you can organize them, structure them, make them somehow usable. So there we go. That was messy, jumping from sign to sign.
Thank you, Lada. This is a lot of insight and great advice. I always want to know, in the beginning of the year, I set an intention for what would be one word that will describe the year. What do you feel the word that describes 2024 is for you?
Oh, for me or for the world?
Let's say collectively. Let's say for humanity.
Haven't thought about that, but I would say something like the rise of the people, but knowing freedom, independence. This is the Aquarian energy here with Pluto.
Freedom. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, empowerment, something like that. Empowerment.
That's a good one. I'm going to release a little short clip tomorrow. I sat with it and I said, okay, the word for me that represents the journey of the human evolution for this year will be integrity, because I think now we're faced with learning to create boundaries. Maybe that's that Saturn also, the boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
Stopping being the people pleasers, and that has to do with authenticity. And yes, that gives you freedom when you understand your own boundaries, right? And then integrity to other people as well. It's very important, I think, to learn to keep our word. and be integral to others as a reflection of being integral to self. So that was
That's
kind of
the hard thing. It's easier for me to have integrity with others than with myself. So that's the harder work.
yes, that usually is it, you know, from majority of people. I think that's a hard one. And this is actually a theme that we've been seeing over the last 3 years, is a lot of people have lower integrity to themselves. And I think it's a common theme for those that are empath, that are still learning how to navigate this reality and begin to honor ourselves, right? So this is, I think, the year of where we have to do that in order to gain the freedom, right, or feel empowered. It has to stem from being integral.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Integrity. And what I see is like this Pluto in Aquarius will bring this integrity, because I see within a few years we'll have many independent journalists, independent scientists, independent education. Anything Aquarius is anything independent that will be developed. And I think that the only way it will happen is if people have integrity. And because now everyone is bought, the scientists, the journalists.
Yes.
And that's the most necessary. And this is it will come. I mark my word.
Yes.
Maybe not in one day, but over the next 20 years, it's not gonna, integrity will take over. And it's not gonna be this. Everything will be independent. Independent.
Yes.
That. So
It's so interesting because the next episode we're doing our independent journalists.
hey, beautiful.
There you go. There you go. The next revelations. Anyway, thank you so much for today. Again, to find Lada, go to AstroladaOfficial, as well as Lada's YouTube channel, which is AstroLada. So there's lots of videos, so much amazing information, wealth of knowledge, and a lot of fun too. So thank you so much for this interview and everything that you're doing. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Elena. Have a great time. And thank you so much for everyone for watching us. And looking forward to see you again soon.